Have you two not seen each other?
I haven't seen anybody. I'm literally the only person that don't see nobody.
Well, thank you both for joining the My Dear Queen Hair Journey panel. I'm going to keep this as a conversational piece. I'm going to, as I sent you the outline, I'm going to try to act like I know what I'm doing. You guys are the first. You're the guinea pigs. You're the test run. But I so appreciate you. This is a discussion about hair, celebrating our hair, celebrating loving our hair, and celebrating being the queens that you are. Although we've known each other for 6 years, there's still so much that we can learn about one another. And I feel like this conversation that we're going to have today will kind of help us learn each other a little bit more as you guys share your personal hair journeys, which is what this is all about. So I put together this panel. We explore the nuances and the experiences that Black women have with their hair. And I have selected two of my friends, Ambum Sango and Monique Rim, who are both recently masters and...
I mean, I have a bachelor's in biology and psychology, and I'm trying to get into PA school.
And I'm just in school still with my master's, so trying to be some boss queens over here.
You know.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Well, the first thing I wanted to kind of dive into is the hair journey itself. And what was that like growing up when you were both young girls, kind of through the adolescent years and then carrying all the way through to adulthood? Like, what were the highs and what were some of the lows?
I mean, I can start off. I think for me, I mean, me and Monique, we grew up together. So we grew up kind of like in the same similar environment where there weren't a lot of Black people around, let alone like things that Black people need. So we grew up in a really suburban white environment, you know what I mean? So you can just go to the regular store and get things for your hair and that kind of thing. But I would say it was, my hair journey as a young child was kind of different and difficult at the same time because, you know, as a kid, you want to fit in with everyone else. And my complexion and my hair was always that reality check that you aren't like everyone else. You know, the texture, not even like, you know, being in a house full of other African people, my parents were always like, you're an African person. And then when I went outside, everyone's like, you're an African-American person. So for me, it was really different in that aspect because I had a different association with my Blackness in the home and outside of the home. So when it pertained to my hair, like I can remember like being in second grade and my mom, she used to do things called, it's like a thread plait. And basically it was like a traditional like Ingi style where like my hair would be like looped around. Now as an adult, I was like, that was so fly. But as a little kid, everyone's like, what's wrong with your hair? Like, why does your hair look like that? Why doesn't your hair look like the other Black kids? You know what I mean? The few that there were. And I remember like begging my second grade teacher to let me wear my hood in class. And I wore my hood for like 2 weeks straight because someone had made fun of my hair the first day I had it at school. And I was so embarrassed. And thinking about it now as an adult, that as a child, I was embarrassed of an attribute that's exclusive to Black people and people of color. You know what I mean? Like having hair texture and having the attributes that our hair does, you know, volume. And to think that being a kid, I was like, why does my hair have to be like this? Why can't it be so easy like all the other kids, you know, one little brush swipe, it was done. Not the life I lived, you know, broke many a combs, but that's okay.
That's actually hilarious. See what I'm saying on that? Like, I get it. I totally get that.
Well, it's interesting that you bring up a difference between an African experience and an African American experience. For somebody who's outside just kind of looking in and basing everything off of skin color, they would look at you and say, okay, well, that's just, you know, a Black girl. That's just an African American. Right. Not really understanding that within Black, there are so many different experiences and cultures that, you know, will kind of shape just your own personal life and how you view the world and how the world views you. So you come from it with an African perspective, which is really interesting because I didn't even think about that before the two of you jumped on the conversation. Monique, on the other hand, you know, I'm not going to speak for you, but I would imagine that it's a little bit different because you don't have the African home that you grew up in. So what was that like for you?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So with me, I just remember my hair journey started I think maybe when I was probably like around 6. I just always had individuals in my hair. That was all I knew. And the older I got, I had asked my mom, like, why did you just put individuals in my hair? And she was like, because it was just the easiest thing to do. Like, you got a whole head of hair. I'm not doing it. We just gonna let you handle it like that. It's easy. You can play around. It doesn't get messed up. That's that. But at that same time, I remember around like the 2nd grade, I feel like that's for a lot of Black females or Black little girls. We learn a lot of things and we see a lot of things. And of course, I have my white friends, straight bone hair. Mom, how come my hair can't be like her? Like, why is my hair a 4C, super tangled? I don't like you touching me with the comb. I'm flinching. And she has perfectly straight hair. Why is that? And that was another form of reality for me to be taught about my Blackness and why my hair is the way that it is, which today I love. But back then I wanted to be like everybody else. Like Ambu said, we grew up in a predominantly, white suburban. We didn't really see a lot of people like us. And when we did, most of the time their hair was in protective styles, or, their mama let them do that little part on the side, gel it up, get that little pom-pom ball, we call it a day. But, we didn't have a lot of other options when it came to our hair, or see other ways that, rocking your hair natural is the thing to do. Like, don't be ashamed of it. Don't be scared of it. And I remember with my hair journey, when I got to all throughout junior high, high school, braided up. Remember, I got to college and my mom kind of let me have some lenience. And yes, Black moms are very protective of their children's hair, even up until their adulthood, because our hair is our crown for the most part. It takes a long time to get it that way. They don't want us to do a lot to damage it, to mess it up. That's why some moms are against relaxers, and some moms are just okay if you just want to press it. And that's why some moms are just like, nope, you're going to do protective styles until I say you can. My mom was really lenient when I was in college about like, okay, you can press it, do whatever you want with it. And I started feeling myself a little bit. And then I remember I was 24. This is right before I met you, Lawrence, 24, 25, and had virgin hair past my bra strap in the back. Virgin hair, never been dyed, fried a day in its life. And I decided to go blonde. And the best experience ever, but also the worst experience. Let's say I dyed my hair in January of that year. By the end of that year, my hair was fried all the way up to right here. So we needed to figure out a way to correct it. And I decided to just cut it. I decided to cut it, and let's just start from the basics. I mean, either I can hold on to it and just, it's still long, just to be able to say it's long or whatever. But I decided to just cut it. And at that point, I kind of felt like, hair at one point to me was everything. The longer the hair, the finer the hair, the better you are as a person, or the more attractive you are. And when it came to that cut, it was either, you could cut it, you could still do some individuals, you could still do some protective styles, you could do some things to help it grow and then get back to what it was. But it was a harsh reality, but at the same time, it was a blessing, because then I realized, like, I could do anything I want to my hair and it'll go back. Hair will grow. It's okay. And so that was my hair journey. And to this day, we still wear protective styles because I sweat. It makes it easier. But.
So both of you brought up protective styles. And so for anybody that's watching, can one of you explain what a protective style is for a Black woman and your hair?
You want me to take this, though?
Yeah, you could.
All right, so protective styles is basically a form of a hairstyle with either synthetic hair or human hair. It's basically your hair is braided up underneath your hair is braided up to the scalp, and it's some form of cornrow. It's some form of it's formed into a cap of a sort. And in that cap, it could either be a weave that is attached to it. It could be crochet hair that is attached to it. You can even just have that braided hair up by itself as a protective style. It's basically to keep away any kind of heat damage, any kind of breakage during your hair growing process. And it's very convenient for if you want to go on a workout tip all the time and you don't want to sweat out your press, you could just have it braided up and you can just get up and go, pretty much.
So as an outsider looking in, obviously I'm not a Black woman, so I wouldn't understand this particular journey. But, even with my sister, I would always wonder, like, well, why is she wearing so much weave? Or why does she have a wig on? Like, what's the deal? Why is she going through all these different hairstyles? And for you all to break it down in that context, to explain it that way, I would hope that whoever's watching this will finally, have that light bulb moment, like, oh, that's why. That's what a protective hairstyle is. That's why they do that.
What I also wanted to piggyback off what Monique said, with protective styles, it's also to make it easier for the person that's having that protective style. So if you're gonna go to the gym, it's better for your hair if it is braided up in whatever fashion that it is, than when you're gonna go sweat it out, right? Because you can't be putting product, you don't wanna be putting all of these other attributes in your hair all the time. So when you have a protective style, it maintains the integrity of your hair in its natural form.
Because those can break off your hair just as much with all that gunk that you add onto your hair.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, what I find fascinating is there's an arc here. Young girl having a mother that's really, really, protective of her daughter's crown and trying to make sure that, her daughter's hair is a certain way, all the way up until she gets to be an adult, and where you obtain this autonomy where you can say, okay, cool, I can go ahead and do what I want to my hair and kind of start playing around with things. But it makes me wonder, were there any books or poems, or was there anything that you could connect with when you were a little girl that you could read to say, okay, you know what, my hair is beautiful, or it's okay for me to wear my hair a certain style?
No. I didn't have anything on my end, unfortunately. I wish I did.
Wow.
On the literary base, there's a multitude of authors who have been influential who are African American and Black of that sort, but things pertaining to African American hair in particular, I didn't grow up reading anything. Mm-hmm. I feel like a lot of things in that kind of sense were not for us, but I think it's more of a psychological warfare for Black people, because I think a lot of people go through, Monique said, we both went through the same similar kind of situation when we were in second grade, and that's an evolution of realizing that your hair as an African American person is your crown, but you don't realize that as a young child. You think about all the hard things in comparison to other people and don't realize the fact that those people can't do what your hair does.
And Boo, I kind of want to go back to when you were in the second grade, that moment where you felt that you needed to wear a hood. To me, it almost kind of signifies that you had a struggle, I guess, with accepting how your hair was different from everybody else's.
Absolutely.
How did you cope with that even as a young child? Was there anything that you could turn to make you say, you know what, okay, this is actually okay for me. I can wear my hair the way that I want to.
In regards to my hair being in particular styling, that was the last time as a child that I ever allowed my mom to do my hair in thread, because I was so embarrassed. And I felt that going to school with my hair like that, it was really traumatic. And this is because for me, I'm at 7, 8 at this point. I've always had my hair thread. I never had a problem, being in the house with my family and that kind of thing, around other Black people or African people, was never a problem until I actively started going to school. So when I had her stop doing thread in my hair while I was in school, she did it when we were on a break or something, but while being in school, my way to be at ease with my hair was getting it done like the other Black kids. So I was Monique, my hair was braided up. Mm-hmm. Braided up, easy breezy individuals.
Absolutely. It was the most inconvenient hairstyle on the planet, and then it was like a turning point, because then you would have the white kids come up oh my God, your hair is so pretty. I want to do this to my hair. And then of course they go to Cabo, Cancun, Mexico for spring break. They come back with the hair, with the cornrows and the beads on the end, to show us hey, look how I did my hair when I went on my vacation with my family, So it was so weird. I want what you have and you want what I have.
Right.
So yeah.
But isn't that crazy to think that a hairstyles in general that are more associated with African American people, being cornrows or having the beads at the end, had kids so vilified at school, oh, this is ghetto, this is ratchet, this is this. had complete negative attributes. And then for it to come back and then people are like, oh, you know what? I got my hair done. Like, it's so cool. It's dope. Da, da, da. I think as a kid, like, I remember realizing, you know, your friends would be like, oh my God, I went to this and I got my hair braided in, you know, in the Bahamas, you know, whatever. Maybe I'm like, you don't know what the struggle of that hair is.
That part.
Because like, they can easily take that off. You know, it's a constant moment for them, but it's
just a moment.
Yeah,
just a moment.
That's all it is. It's literally, you know, however long they want to wear it for, but you all have to live with that every single day.
Sometimes I felt like in situations like that, okay, maybe appropriated, but it was kind of like mocking the African American principles of hair. They're like, oh, I'm gonna go here and get it for fun, but no, this is like the life that we live. Like there's an unfairness in that, but you know, it was done in, you know, in all kinds of fun. But like, I think for me, like mentally thinking about that, like, oh, you think that this is a hee hee ha ha kind of thing, but like,
the situation.
Hair, any Black woman can tell you that hair is very serious.
We don't play about that.
We don't play. You know what I mean?
Well, it sounds like for both of you that the relationships with your hair from being a young girl going into womanhood has evolved and it has changed. I guess in what ways? Like how did that change?
For me, mind you, braids were easiest thing to have, but I disliked getting my hair braided with a passion. Those 9 hours to 12 hours that it took, no. So like so I started wearing my hair just like how it is and like clipped it, pinned it. Man, I think the last time I got my hair braided in individuals was in junior high. And I started having my natural hair out. I started to relax my hair to make it that much more manageable for the styles that I was doing and trying to replicate. Until being an adult now, relax is nobody's friend. Especially, oh yeah, because I definitely made the mistake of, you know, having relaxed hair and then being like, oh my gosh, I want to color my hair. Unless you want to be a bald head scallywag, don't do that. But I mean, even now, as a grown woman, I love having twists. I feel like it's the best of both worlds for me personally. Having a protective style, and then it only takes like 3 hours to do for my hair, rather than 3 times that many hours. So that makes me that much more happier for that kind of convenience. But what is your story like, Monique?
I think for me, because, you know, to this day, y'all done see me with some individuals still, you know, we still rock them, you know, we'll sit there for the 4 to 5, you know. But right now, you know, in my early 20s, when I got my freedom to do whatever I wanted prior to the blind stage, you know, Mo used to rock the weaves, you know, I wanted to be attractive in a sense to the opposite sex, because the opposite sex wasn't checking for girls who had individuals. I remember one guy told me that I was talking to, he asked me, so when are you going to take those braids out? And I was like, why? And he was like, because you look like a little kid. And he had a daughter, so I don't know if that was in reference to, you're making me think of my child because I see you with individuals and she got individuals. That wasn't going to stop me, period. But at that time, it was like, well, he doesn't see me attractive with these, so what else can I do? So the weaves came into play. And I loved my weaves. Loved them. You know, I got to the point that my hair was starting to be trained, that I had leaved out. Training hair means that when you press the hair so many times, it takes away your curl pattern and it makes it more of a straighter appeal. So, you know, you can just put some gel in that thing and curl it up. And it's not like the 4C kind of curl. It's not that tight, kinky curl. It's a little loose. It has a deep wave with it. So with my weaves in, you know, the hair that I had that was left out was being trained, and, you know, I was feeling myself. And then that's why we ended up going blind. I was feeling myself a little too much. God had to humble me back down, which is hence why we cut it. But with that cut, I'm very, you know, thankful for that, because I did go back to my natural style. I, at the time, I'm 30 now, so I didn't press my hair. I didn't put any heat on it for 4 years. I did individuals, and then I did crochet, which is what I have in now, but obviously it's buttoned up, so you guys can't really tell. But That's all I did for 4 years. So as of a couple months ago, I actually got my hair pressed before we put this in, and to see how far we have came in those 4 years without manipulating it, not doing too much to it, just letting it be, letting it get its rest, letting it get its moisture back, and letting it grow and do its thing, take my vitamins, my collagen, get on a workout tip and get some rest. A lot can help with your hair growth. Count it out, girl. No stress, no nothing. So, there are moments I want to have a weave. There are moments I just want to wear my hair out and press. Like, there's so many. The one thing I can say about being a Black woman with this hair is that we can be multiple people thanks to the things of having weaves and wigs and crochet braids and individuals. And, we can be so many people within 1 week. So with that, my hair has been, I think with Black girls, we don't really feel at a young age that our hair is our crown. It takes us a long time to understand it. And so many Black women to this day that are around our age still feel like their hair can make or break them as a person. They don't feel like they're anything in this life without their hair. And even though our hair it's our crown, it's our glory, you still are somebody without it. A bald head is the same way of me, is one way as to me having a full head of hair. You are still that person. You're going to rock that bald head. You're going to do whatever it is that you want to do with it. You're going to rock that short weave. You're going to rock that pixie cut. It's how you make it. It's how it's going to be, period. So I think, with my hair transition, I learned a lot of things when it came to pertaining to this. And I went away from what attracts a man. What can I do with my hair to find a man and that would want me because my hair looks good? So then he might think he might have kids with good hair, because I've been through it all. We already know this. So, now it's like, what do I want to do with my hair that makes me happy? Makes my life more convenient when I wake up and go to the gym and I can just get up and go to work. What works for me? So that's where we're at right now with my hair journey, which I have no regrets. If I could wear protective styles, honestly, for the rest of my life, I'll probably do it. And you'll never know what kind of hair I got underneath here.
I just went through so many range of emotions.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
It blows my mind, because for hair to be so important, especially, and I know the hair is important to a lot of people, not just Black women, but Black women in particularly. For hair to be that important to your life experiences, that can make or break how you view yourself, your self-worth, how you love yourself, just how people see you. It just, because I don't walk in those shoes, I don't know what that's like. I can try to empathize, and my heart definitely goes out, because again, the emotions I went through listening to all of that, Lord have mercy, I feel like crying right now. But I'm so happy to hear that both of you have at least reached a level of where you're at, where it feels like, or sounds like, you love your hair, which is a question I would love to ask everybody. What do you love about your hair? Who wants to go first?
I'll try this. What do I love about my hair? I love the fullness. We got a whole head of hair underneath this, y'all. And y'all have seen it, but for those who haven't, it's a lot of hair. And I used to hate how thick it was, because my mom used to be like, oh my God, my hand hurts, and the comb tooths were breaking. It was a hassle. And, some people have thin hair. Like my mom and I have two totally different textures of hair. She has very thin hair and I have very thick hair. So, people that do see it, when they do see it, like, oh my God, I wish I had your thickness. So I guess I can say I love my volume of my hair. I do like the length of my hair, but I love the fact that my hair has never given up on me. As much as I have put it through the ringer with some things, snatched a couple edges, they still come back. They still come back. Your hair will not let you your hair won't let you down, okay? It's always gonna come back. You could chop it off, it'll grow back. Okay, babe, where you wanna start off now? What style you trying to go to? Let's grow together so we can get to that style for you. So I definitely like my volume, like my thickness, and that it's done me right.
Ambu.
Well said, Monique.
Right.
Before, applause. I love that. Before I talk about what I like about my hair, because there's so much I do like about it, I wanted to make a statement about the perception of the standard of beauty as to why a lot of little Black girls and Black women feel the way they do about their hair. Yeah. Because like Monique was talking about, her getting her weaves, and the primary focus of that is, okay, making sure your hair looks a certain way because it's perceived a certain way. Because oftentimes they'll tell Black people that your natural hair or the way it's styled without it being chemically treated is unprofessional. Mm-hmm. It's, in a sense, not beautiful. It doesn't come off appealing. But what if we learned that we are strong people, if not the strongest people? That's why for me, what I love about my hair is the fact that it is so strong, because I've been doing so much stuff with my hair, and she's here.
She's still popping, yeah.
She's here thriving. And ask Monique. Monique's known me for a very, very long time. And I've always had very short hair.
Yeah.
And where a lot of girls, were getting weaves and doing all this. I've always been a makeup girl, not a hair girl. So like me having short hair was always easiest for me. And I mean, short hair is not for everyone, but it was always for me. And even now, like even when I've had longer hair, the attention is different. And it's different I feel like the notion of longer hair is more of a European mindset that people that is paralleled and aligned with beauty in totality, where my hair is not naturally like that. So I've always been like, okay, I'm not what they call a standard of beauty, but I'm a standard of beauty. Just because I'm not yours does not mean it's not out here fruitful, luxurious, luscious, and everything that you want to be, but you can't.
Well, it sounds like now you are your own standard of beauty, which is what I love. I through this conversation, and I'm so proud of both of you all to have gotten to this point where you don't need the externals anymore to validate who you are, what your hair is, how you should wear it, or anything of the sort. So I really appreciate both of you for getting to that. And I love hearing that. So if there was one thing, and you can tell these young queens out there, the newer generations coming up, that young girl that feels that she has to put that hood on her head to go to class, or that young girl that has to do all the, the individuals, what's one thing, and I'm sure there's a lot, that you could tell them, to kind of embrace their hair and love it? I know it's a tough one.
I would honestly say to do just that. Embrace it. It's beautiful. Like, it's beautiful. You're different. People love different. You may be looked at a lot. You may, get a lot of questions, but just take it in stride. And it's okay. It's 100% okay. You are made to be different. That's what makes you beautiful. And that's okay.
And boo,
my brain stays working. Okay.
But y'all great stuff. So
one thing that I would say to the younger generation of people of color, Black people, African people, my 4C girls, is that that you are everything that you want to be. Your hair is just a part of that. You are enough. Everything that you are, you already are. Your hair is just, a little extra seasoning, you know what I mean? Your hair is a crown, a little seasoning. Your hair is a crown. The person that you are and develop to be is what you should really strive for. You know what I mean? I feel like a lot of times we really focus on attributes that we literally can't change. Well, you can chemically change your hair, but your hair is still going to grow out. You know what I mean? It's for you to have your personal integrity about what you want for yourself is prime.
I love
That
it.
was one thing, but that's a lot. But
That was good, Lou. That was very good.
I think that, thank you both for being part of this discussion. I feel like this discussion actually can keep going and going and going. I am going to end it here, though, and perhaps maybe we can have a deeper dive into this if you want at a later time. But I thank you, beautiful queens, both. I'm really, really happy that I've gotten to learn this much about you in a short amount of time, even though we've known each other for years. I can't wait to see what you do with your hair next. And to everybody that is out there watching this, please go ahead and support the My Dear Queen Community Book Drive. And on GoFundMe, pick up a copy on Amazon. Continue to love yourself and love your hair and get out there and be the royalness that you are. And we appreciate you. And we will see you later. Bye. Thank you.